Welcome to Better Images with JP here at Websites for Beginners. I'm sure many of you have been in that situation where you had created a site for a client or for somebody and that you had used placeholder images like images from Unsplash, or you just use some images like this one I have over here, and then you wait for the person to send you a photo so you can replace it with, only to find out that when they send you an image, it's way too small. And then when you ask them, can you send me a higher resolution format, please? They tell you, oh no, this is the only one we've got. Yes, that has happened. It doesn't usually happen for the main page, but it happens especially for smaller concerns. You're not going to have Microsoft or Apple run into this kind of situation. But if you are working maybe with a club, like a charity, often when they do outreaches and then for their posts pages, somebody will just snap away with their phones. This is another one that totally baffles me, why people want to get the latest iPhone and then don't know how to take serious photos with it or send good image quality photos with it, because that's what the iPhone is all about. Let's not digress, because that one will lead me down a serious rant, and focus on the problem we have here. I'm going to show you what typically happens, and then I'm going to show you some software that I use to solve this problem. I have here two images. One is at 300 pixels and the other one is at 600 pixels. If I go here to this one and I replace my background, let's start first with the 600 pixels. And I'm going to drag in my 600 pixels. And this is what I got. It's going to look a little bit blurry, but you may think that is how the effect should be. Let's replace it with a 300 pixels one. And now you see we run into serious problems here. Why are we experiencing this? Let me go show you. And for that, we're going to go to the front end and look at how this image is currently displaying on my monitor. Now, we've done it in previous videos where we inspect the image to see the size of how it's currently displayed. I grab my inspector tool over here and I'll just hover over this. And you can see over here, we are at 1903, which is more or less an HD monitor. My problem that I'm experiencing then is that image of 300 pixels is stretched to fill my entire monitor, and that's why it starts looking so blurry. Now 1900 and HD is 1920 pixels is quite large, and I'm not going to go too much in detail into that because we are working now more with what we call a responsive image. An image stretches depending on the monitor and the display. I'm just going to focus on what can we do to make these two small images bigger so that they look better. And I'm going to put down a wrapper context. Now the wrapper is the size in which we work with when we work with the contents. I'm going to put down a limit of 1200 pixels. So we're going to stick with that just for this display purposes. So let's imagine this is 1200 pixels and we bring in those images again. And let's start with the 300 pixels. This is our 600. This is our 300. Select, and we know it's not going to fly. It's not going to work. To solve this, I use a software that is one of the plugins that comes from Topaz Studio, which is actually Topaz Labs. The name is Topaz Labs. The software is Topaz Studio, and then they have a few other additional plugins, which I'm quite fond of. If you go to their site, and you can get the link in the description below, then you go to this one called Gigapixel AI. Gigapixel AI is all about photo enlargement using machine learning, which is a nice word for AI. We see it all over the world now, because if something's got AI, it must be good, right? Not always, but in this case, very good. And it's something that you should consider using if, like this example they have here, some group photos, and you need to have it larger on the site and you need to display it better. So I'm going to launch my Gigapixel AI. And then what I'll do is I'm going to grab my 300 pixels image over here, and I'm going to work with the smallest one to see how much we can pull out of this image, upscale it, and will it be presentable if we put it on our site. So I'm going to grab it and drop it over here. Bringing it in, it launches a default setting. And I think the first part I want to show you is the processing up here in the top right-hand corner. Remember, I told you we are going to stick to 1200 pixels. This image is 300 pixels in width. So what we need to do to get to 1200 pixels is we have to upscale it 4 times, multiply it by 4. And that is why you have this setting over here. You have other settings where you can align it either to the width or the height. I'm just going to scale it 4 times. Then you have auto settings here. And if you have faces in here, you can choose face refinement on. I'm going to just select off. So it's not going to look for faces and it will use a slightly different algorithm. That's all I'm going to do. Now, here is your previews. And you would say, come on, you have to be impressed at this moment already. If you look at these blurry areas and you look at what it's done over here, the detail that's coming out, you already know this is going to look much better than the 300 pixels your customer or your friend had given you. All you need to do is just click here on Start in the bottom right-hand corner. It will run and it will give this suffix output. So I'm using this output to view it as what I have output from Gigapixel AI. So let's say Start. It's going to run through that processing and boom, it is done. If I go back into my folder, you will see over here is the output version now. Now we will bring in this 300 pixels output file, which has been upsized, and it should be around, what, 1200 pixels? We will check that when we get into the WordPress editor. Let's go back to our site over here. Delete this image and bring in the one that we have output. And let's see over here. You can see 1200 pixels by 548. So this is our upsize image. Select it and it looks much better. So let's duplicate this and then we put the 300 pixel one under it so that you have a better sense of what we had achieved with Gigapixel AI. After Gigapixel AI, before Gigapixel AI. There is a lot of software on the market that can do this. On1 Photo Raw has a resize, Photoshop has a resize. I think even Affinity Photo should have that, and there's a number of others as well. You can check around for that. I use Gigapixel AI recently when I had to enlarge photos and I used Gigapixel AI. It gave me the easiest and fastest solution with more or less the best outcome. You're not always going to get what you want when you upsize an image. Sometimes things are going to look a little bit wonky, and that's going to happen with all kinds of software. But in this case, we have upscaled this image 4 times, and it looks so good. It's amazing to think that we took that little image and we upscaled it to this size. Go check out Gigapixel AI. They have a trial period for up to 30 days. Get small photos, upscale them, see how it works. Let's just run through that again. You go to Gigapixel, you grab the image that you want to upsize. If you click on it, you can say here preview. Gigapixel will then arrange a preview for you over here to show you how it will upsize. You can choose up here how many times you want to upsize it by using the scaling option. Just 2 times, 4 times, or even 6 times. After you've done that, you just run Start and it will output the file in no time. You've got a mega image from a very, very small image. See you in the next episode.